In the analysis of the fallen of the human race, Adam and Eve, when sin came to the world, this is very deep. I will try to be as simple as I can, so my mind won't work so hard, and people will understand better. Think about these. We go back to the mystery of there are two big questions when it comes to think about a creator, a being that existed before we did, and the being that created us, and the being that is supposed to be the supremacy of all things. His name is God, the creator. There's two questions that when I started studying the Bible and thinking about if there is a God, two big questions came to my mind. The first one is, why, if God is perfect, he created something imperfect that brought chaos to the world? He created Satan. That's the first question. The second question is, why our mind cannot conceive the fact that God always existed. There was no beginning for God. There's no end for God. Why are we created to a point that we cannot conceive or understand a no beginning or a no end, especially a no beginning? So those are two big questions, very mystical, deep questions. Why, if God is good and is perfect, he created Satan? Everything came out of God. So if Satan came out of God, then God is not perfect. He created something evil, something that was going to fail. Think about this. When I studied psychology, we went deep into, psychology. It has studied the mind of human beings, their deepest things. In all of us, there is something called the unconscious. In that unconscious, there exists an evil part. Let's say that God is a human being. Let's think about this. So there was in his unconscious, there was an evil part that maybe he wanted to get rid of. So it's a big mystery. He created the earth, he created all the angels, he created all good things, but there was one thing he didn't create right, and it came out of him, and it was Satan. With Satan, there became another angels that follow him. Think about this. It's as difficult to understand that there is anything bad in God, as difficult to understand that there is no beginning for God, that he always existed. He never began. Now, in the whole play of the earth, all the creation, all the people that have existed, all the animals, all the living things, there is a game of good and evil. Now, we as human beings cannot conceive that if there is an example for us, and that example is God, and we have his nature. I mean, it's true that we're good inside. I mean, most of us are. We're born good people. We're born with feelings, with discerning good and evil, with love, with a lot of good stuff. Growing up, some people become evil and they decide to do evil things, or they lose the sense of good and evil, and for them they can live with a clean mentality, doing all kinds of evils. I have seen people around here close to me, people that I have known for years, that you can see in their faces the innocence. And behind that, they have done so much evil. But you will never discern it, because for them, what that evil they have done is good, or is part of their lifestyle, or part of their culture. And they just keep on going, living like, like if they were 5 years old, 10 years old. But anyway, I just want to say this. I know there is a nature in me that is like God, and we all have seen. And there's another nature that is not. Some people, the ugly nature of Satan is more than most people. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. I studied psychology, and I tried to get deep into this. I almost lose my mind. I tried to get deep into this, good and evil stuff in psychology through the psychoanalysis theory. And it's just like a never-ending thing. But it's good because it has a lot of explanation. You can take the mind apart, and you can go for sections, and you see that what's happening in the mind of every person doesn't contradict the problem of sin that the Bible talks about, the problem of good and evil that is described in the Bible. It's all right here. It's all right in the brain. It's all right in the mind. The dynamic of the thoughts. The dark part of us is the dark part of us is the dark part of God. We are being created at His image. But I'm not saying that God is bad. God is good. But like I say, how to explain that God created something that was wrong? How to explain that God never had a beginning? He always existed. Okay, I'm going to stop here.